Okie doke. So we're looking at this test and I want to look at criterion D. Now, I'm actually going down here, look. I want you to be aware of something. In criterion D is applying maths in a real life context. And it says, look, for a 3 to 4, which a lot of you are in that or lower, it says, apply mathematical strategies to reach a solution to the authentic real life situation which we have with some success, although it may not be valid in the given context. Okay? Select with some success a mathematical strategy. So if you were not able to come up with a model at all, you haven't even reached that criteria. To get the 5 to 6, it's got to be a valid solution, okay? And that really means, in this case, it should be correct. Yeah? So what would invalidate your model in this task? I've written it on people's things. Yeah.
Mixing up the
units. Dollars and cents. As soon as you do that, your model is not valid. So just that one choice meant that your grade was never going to get above 3 to 4. Right? So if you've mixed up your units. Now I spotted some other things like people putting the variables on the wrong number. Right? Again, that's not a valid one. Why would your criterion A grade maybe not be affected so much by getting the cents and the dollars wrong? Yeah, so you still came up with a model. It's not a valid one for the criterion D, but maybe you still attempted to solve it correctly. Maybe you used your technology correctly. Maybe you did substitution or elimination correctly. All right, you're not going to get the top grades in A, but if you can go through a process pretty much correctly, you can still go through. So if we look at criterion A, look, all right, it says solve in challenging situations. We could call this maybe a challenging situation. Unfamiliar, maybe it's unfamiliar. We didn't do a lot. I kind of left you to get on with it. And it says generally solve them correctly. Now, you can't generally solve one problem correctly, okay? But you can go through it and most of your steps could be correct, yeah? You might have made a mistake and that would affect your criterion A. But do you understand the difference between criterion D and criterion A now? It's like, the model has to be valid. I remember saying to you in class, make sure you get the units correct. So if I just have a show of hands now, who did that? Who got the units correct in the question? So you had your dollars and your cents were turned into dollars. So in the problem, let's just get all the way to the end. All right. So in this one, it's obvious we've got 1.8 cents, 9 cents, but we've got $70 and $240. So your model should have been, the cost of one should have been 240. If we're having dollars plus, that would have been 0.018 dollars times each number of page. Now we said X, but really my model can be P. Now what I did like, some people did by the way, is saying that C is equal to Y and P is equal to X, or cost is Y, or P, like number of pages is X. You defined your variables. That was good. I like that. You can give yourself on that second page a little star or a tick or something if you did that. All right. A couple of people rounded this. What's the consequences of rounding? Well, in this case, it does lower the degree of accuracy and just makes it plain wrong. Yeah. If you go into a shop and they say, "Oh, it's 1.8 cents a page," and you go, "Oh, I'll give you 1 cent a page," they're going to go, "No." All right. They'll go, "Oh, you can give me 2 cents a page if you like," and you can go, "No, because I'm going to get 1,000 pages. That's quite a bit of money, right?" So in this case, yeah, lowering your accuracy, but in criterion D, this is a specific case where if you change the accuracy of that number, you actually affect the problem hugely. What's the other model, by the way? What's the other part of this model? Cost for that one would have been 70 plus P. That's what I've learned. All right. So if you don't have that model, you might want to write that down on your piece of paper. So as soon as you've got that, that's a valid model. You've got something that you can now go ahead and solve. So if you reach that point, you're already at the 4, aren't you? You've got a valid model, you've considered number of pages, you've specified. So even if you wrote the C as a Y and the P as an X, if you've written that down, we're all good. We're straight up to a 4. We've got a valid model, we've applied strategies like the multiplication bit, the addition of it, we've changed the currencies, we've identified the relevant elements of the situation. How do we solve this now? You could put it into your calculator, you could put it into Desmos. Okay? You could do it algebraically. Which one would you choose in this case when you've got the technology available to you? Desmos or a calculator, right? Can I just get you all to do it? Do it now. Because that, by the way, is another skill in your knowledge and understanding, criterion A. How do you give evidence that you use the technology? Draw your graph. All right. So let's draw a graph. I don't need to go into the negatives because no negative pages. Exactly. No negative cost, no negative pages. I can call this cost, this is pages. When I put it into my calculator, this is going to be a Y, this is going to be an X. Okay. It's set up nicely. Obviously, hopefully you've got the knowledge to say, well, this would be Y equals 0.018x plus 240, and this would be Y equals 0.09x plus 70, and then we draw it. And it should probably look like something like that. Is that what you get on your screen, roughly? So this one would have started at 70, and this one would have started at 240. And actually, this point here is at 2,361.11, I think I get. What was the cost? What's the Y value for it when you get there? I'll pause. All right, so that's the coordinates of this point. Right, 2,361.11 and 282.5. That seems to make sense. I could put 0 on there because cost is in dollars and cents. All right. Again, if I'm doing a criterion D and I'm considering my accuracy, so can you still confirm? Can you get those numbers? So guys, having done that, now it's just a case of interpretation, and to be honest, that comes with if you've thought enough to define your variables and you've got, well, x equals 2,361.11 and y equals 282.5. In this question, we need to have enough to say, okay, that means that it's 2,361 pages. That's the crossover point. Okay? So I did spot in people's work. Some people were never going to get the right answer because they mixed units and things. Some people just made a mistake probably in their working out. So that's up to you to figure out. Oh, okay. Yeah, should we talk about that? On your calculator, if you've got 2.36, was it E plus 10? Yeah, sorry. We played. Alright, if you've got E plus 3, this is calculator notation and means 2.36 times 10 to the power of 3. Right? Which means times 10 3 times. So you would actually end up with 2,360. Yeah. Now, if your calculator's doing that, I've got a piece of homework for you. If you got this on your calculator, all right, you can set your calculator so it doesn't do that, so the accuracy that it works at, all right? So I'm not going to tell you, that's your homework. You can go into settings. All you have to do, go on YouTube, all right? Do you remember at the beginning of the year on Teams, I set up I gave you, I believe, a whole YouTube playlist on how to sort out your TI Inspire. So there'll be something there. Before you do that, because that's homework, some people, as soon as they hear homework, think, do it now, then I don't have homework. So you are setting.
What do we search up on YouTube?
So, how to make it not round by numbers, accuracy on TI Inspire, something like that. Now, the reason why I'm not going to give you too much on that is because that is a ATL skill of research. All right? You don't know what to research, but you know what you need to find out, so it's up to you to find some things that work. And I tell you what, if anyone finds it, why don't you post it on Teams for everyone else? And what ATL skill is that? Collaboration, communication. All right, let's go back to the other question now. Generally, lots of knowledge and understanding, but some important weaknesses. Guys, right? You're doing what? What are you changing now? The settings? No, let's not do it now. That's a homework task. Feel free, yeah? This is what we're going to talk about now. Because these, one of the questions caught everyone out. No one got the correct answer. Alright? But surprisingly, too many people didn't know this one. Right? Use the graph to write down the solutions. So the solutions are where? It crosses. When I write coordinates, which one comes first? So we go across to x, and this is at 1. Positive 1, not negative 1. And then we go down to negative 2. What are the solutions? X equals 1 and y equals. If all you did was put the coordinate down, you didn't tell me the solutions. I didn't mark you wrong, but there's something to be considered when
I just put it in like updated.
Why is that?
I know, but I'm saying I just did it too.
Okay, alright. But you have to write down x is 1, y equals negative 2. Alright? Any issues, any of those? Alright. Show that your solution is correct. How do you do that?
You substitute the y.
Yeah. Some people overdid this completely. That's why you ran out of time. You solved it algebraically. I didn't ask for that. I said show it is correct. And, as the math series just said, pick one of those and, or even pick both of them and just show it works. 4x minus y equals 6. So, 4x minus y equals 6 should be correct if x is 1 and y is minus 2. So 4 times 1 minus minus 2 should equal 6. Does it? Well, that's 4 plus 2 makes 6. Yes, it does. I'm happy. Alright? We're not on computers searching up for our homework, by the way. Otherwise, the rest of this will become homework. Alright? Not enough people. You wasted time. And again, I'm not criticizing, I'm giving you feedback. You all ran out of time, right? This is why. You spent 5 minutes instead of 1 minute. Next question. You are going to whinge, I think, at yourself, hopefully. A system of, and this has got nothing to do with question 1, by the way, that's why it's labelled question 2. A system of equations is known to have 0 solutions. State all you know about the 2 equations. Anyone figured this out since? No? Sure? Well, what about if the 2 lines are? What if they don't cross?
Oh.
There's 0 solutions. What do I know about them? Well, I know they're parallel. I know they don't cross. I know they have the same gradient. I know they have different y-axis intercepts. Anything like that, that's what I was looking for. Basically, if you just wrote, I know they're parallel lines. Yeah? Parallel means they're not the same line, so that would have done. Yeah? Just that.
I thought it said that too.
Yeah, same.
Why?
Oh no, I thought you were talking about like.
A system of equations. Now, the only thing maybe I should have added to this question was this could be a system of equations which could be non-linear. Alright? So, for instance, this is not in the standard level course. You could have a linear one and a quadratic that never meet, never cross. So actually, if you'd have given me that example, they don't cross, they never meet each other, that would have done as well. I would have accepted that. That's me writing the question poorly. Alright? But I would have, basically, the 2 lines never meet, they never cross. That's what we're looking for. If you considered they were parallel, they're parallel. I don't know why, well, maybe that's a learning how to take assessments. A question 2 means a new question. How do you know if you ought to be taking parts from?
It would be like A or B.
Exactly. A and B mean those bits might be linked. 1 and 2, they're not linked. So maybe that's a bit of exam technique. But that one I was a bit surprised at, but you probably all sat there and thought, did you all get my message on the day I wasn't in, where I identified, do you remember in class we were looking for this and we couldn't find it? Yeah? We were looking for this on the list and I went, oh well, maybe it's an extended. And then when I was out, I put on Teams, said check out investigation something. Can't remember what one it was. Should remember it. Maybe Wednesday.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Exploration 4, page 417. Anyone see that?
I saw it.
Do you look at your Teams regularly? No? Even though I use it and put the videos up, put resources.
I didn't have it. So,
Well, I sent that, I think, 11:08 when before you did maths for that day, or it was there, and that's why I put it there. I just wanted to, and obviously we didn't see that. All right. Anyway, live and learn. Yes. Maybe it was a bit late. But then it's worth checking at the end of the day. All right. I thought this one, most of you got things right now. If you got it wrong, can you spot where? Yeah? This one, I'll go through this one rather than the first one because I did see some issues. So equation number 1 is a quarter x plus a 6y equals 1, and equation number 2, x minus 1. Right. Can I just ask, I did spot a couple of people doing the correct thing, trying to get rid of the fractions. What you multiply by, is it? By. So this one you could multiply by 4 once, and then you multiply by 6. Yeah, remember doing that? Or, as Nico said, he obviously did a bit of study on this, you could actually multiply by 24. But the other thing that goes into 4 and 6 goes into is multiply by 12, which I did see a couple of other people do. So I'm actually going to multiply by 12, not 24. But what we get, this is where I saw a couple of mistakes. This would give me 12 quarters x plus 12 6 y equals 1. 12, why 12? Because 12 divided by 4 makes 3x. 12 divided by 6 is 2y, and this one should have been times 12, so 12 equals 12. So there were mistakes dealing. Some people, I believe, had, if they did this, what I saw was multiplying by 24, and they had 24 over, what was it, 136 or something. So you multiplied the top and the bottom. Is that right? Or no, that's not the right number anyway, is it? What's 24 times 6? 120 and 24, 144. So some people did that multiply top and bottom, which is just incorrect multiplying the fractions. That's not even the topic we're doing, that's a previous topic. Okay, so that was a mistake there. What do you do at this stage? So that's my new number 1. What would you do?
Oh, you could add y, so it's x.
Definitely, if I wanted to use substitution, I could add y and make it x equals
Times by number 2 by
times this one by 3 and use elimination methods. I did see one person, and this is something that needs addressing. Someone, and you don't need to worry about who, because it can happen. So, in this one, for instance, someone, I believe, added 3, added 8, something like that. And do we understand why adding on does not give you an equivalent of the same? But it does give you an equivalent if you add to both sides, but it doesn't give you the same equation again. All right? When you do this, you must either multiply or divide. You cannot add and subtract on the first stage of this process. What other mistakes did I see? So you can identify these and make notes. Some of you, one person said I'm subtracting one person said I'm adding 1 and 2, then actually subtracted the x and y's but added the number at the end, mixed it all up completely. Somebody said I'm subtracting them quite correctly, but then subtracted wrong with negative numbers. That's the problem there. So can I get you in this case to have another, just a look at your solution, and can you redo it now? Because I don't think many people got this one correct, if any. All right, can you have a look? If you need paper, use your maths book, you can write it down. Have a go at finishing this one off now. So if I'm going to use substitution, I'm going to look at this one because it's already x and y. I'm going to add y to both sides. So number 1 is now 3x plus 2y equals 12. But number 2 is now x equals 3 plus y. that goes into there. So my number 1 now becomes 3 times 3 plus y plus 2y equals 12. Expand the brackets. 9 plus 3y plus 2y equals 12. Simplify. 9 plus 5y equals 12.
I have a question. It's related to this question. So,
Is it related?
yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So, you know how times the
Yeah.
u times the picture. 9.
Number 1 by something and number 2. Yeah. At this stage, I would subtract the 9 to leave the 5y on its own. 5y is now only 3, and y is therefore 3 divided by 5, or if you prefer decimals, 0.6. We then need to know what x is, and x is 3 plus 1. That's convenient. X equals 3 plus 0.6. So x equals 3.6. That's super easy. Finding that, the hardest bit was finding the first. Okay? Don't think you get scared off by the decimals. What?
That's what 2 plus negative. Yeah.
2 plus negative 3y becomes 2 minus 3y. Because you can't add a 2 and a y together.
Oh no, they're both 2 y's.
Well, a plus and a minus,
I know.
you add a negative, you are just subtracting. Alright. Yes. This question here, there's a challenge for this one. This was one of the harder, unfamiliar type questions. What's the problem with it?
Oh, that's a fraction.
As S and R is what I'm thinking about. Alright? What do you need to do first? Is it? Yeah. And you need to decide which is which. And it doesn't actually matter. Alright? You can go through with R and S with a graphical method, but when it says use technology, you're not using an algebraic method, are you? And that was the challenge. So it looks like, oh, I can use the computer, brilliant. But actually, you need to decide, and it's R here, S here. So which one is going to be the Y? You decide, but you have to write it down. If I said R equals Y and S equals X, I would get one solution. If I said R equals X and S equals Y, well, I get the same solution, they'd just be the other way around, right? Now, when you put those, you can type those straight into Desmos. If you were using your calculator, you might have needed to rearrange things a little bit. But when you use technology, what you should have found, I believe, in fact I know, is, I can't remember exactly, but you will have had graphs that look like this. I think, well anyway, I remember whichever way around I did it, it was at 4 and 1. So in that case, I can say my solutions are x equals 4 and y equals 1. So that would mean that r equals 1 and s equals 4. That would be my final answer. If I got that the right way around, I can't remember. But that was the challenge with this one, was understanding that you have to define your x and your y. I think some people obviously got the wrong graphs because did you put it in wrong? Did you put the r and the s wrong way around, mix it up? Did you rearrange incorrectly? I don't know. But again, if you didn't even, I think one person did something on technology and then didn't show me the graphs. I need evidence. Yeah. Answer. So you would have either got a 4 and 1, or you would have got a 1 and 4 answer. Either way, it would have been a 4 and a 1 or a 1 and a 4. Should we now do extended serial for you because you're too bored of the standard? Alright. Any questions about that? Would you like, and it's right at the end, but if you want to go through how you'd actually put that into technology, maybe we need to do that next lesson. You can remind me.